number 8 of this Graviton training, and that's amazing because we have come a long journey to come here, and I feel I am really proud about how the training is going because we have had several facilitators, and we have had a lot of interesting topics that all of them are complementary skills to manage conflict and to also prevent it, both in a group and also from an individual point of view. So in this session, we will be having two main topics, and one is about alternative dispute resolution. We are going to get into the ground about what are the gravity processes, and yeah, that then we are going to deep dive on some of the documents we've been working on and the structure we have been building to have the project to this point, and also the very important documents that all gravitons need to see and understand and manage. So yeah, this session I am going to start also practicing an Oponopono. This is a Hawaiian practice. I don't know if you've seen this video. I think, yeah, we shared it yesterday in the Twitter. Um, yeah, but I really recommend it. Um, if you haven't seen it, I recommend you to see it. Or we can also spend some minutes watching this video. But it's a practice that is meant to erase memories. Sometimes we are like alike, but through memories we take away, like we create a cloud and we don't let that light pass through us because there is the cloud. And when you erase that this memory of this memory of cloud memory, we are able to let light go through us again. So I am going to um, yeah, I am going to play this video for some minutes, and then we are going to have a practice of this here in the call.
Is to answer the question, who am I? Because what happens is when you don't know who you are, you become a problem. So it's important to answer the question, who am I? I'm going to take you back to the beginning of zero. This is where we're always going to come back, is to zero. When you hear great sages such as Buddha says, come back to void, zero. You hear the same message from people, great sages such as Jesus, come back to purity of soul. Even Shakespeare talks about coming back to blank. So why is it that you want to come back to zero? Because that zero is where all your answers are. So zero, when you are at zero, Buddha says you become enlightened, so you become the I am. When you become the I am, you become inspiration, you get inspired. When you are inspired, you get the right sources of wealth. When you are inspired, you get the right relationship. You get the right place to live. And it comes all without your having to effort. No effort. So the Ho'oponopono is about taking you back to zero. How do we do that? We erase the data. Back to zero again. Then you become inspired again, see? Most of the time, we are stuck in what Buddha called the cloud of memory. Light goes off. I will demonstrate. I'm talking about you. In the beginning, there was nothing. Zero. And out of the zero came the light. Everything you need, get. comes up and blocks the light. Going to disease, suffering, poverty, all it is because of this memory. Ho'oponopono releases the memory. When you release the memory, you are back to zero. Get enlightened. All of your problems, memories in you, not in your mother, not in your boss, not in the government, in you. Oh, the idea of the Ho'oponopono is release memory. Everything you need, yes. When I look at her, I see her with this, see? And I have all kinds of judgment about her. But if I let go, she is divine being. This, you can all go home. That's all I'm here to do is that you are already perfect. You're not working on you. You're working on the memory in you.
So, yeah, the people who knows me from a little time, or who have at least we have had the pleasure to see physically, they know that I like to give wristbands with these words. The words, "I love you," "Thank you," "I'm sorry," and "Forgive me," to remind people of this practice of how many times we carry a luggage that really it's not needed for us to be free, and how many times with that memory, with that ego, with that idea of ourselves, really we block light, the light that shines from us. So yeah, we're going to have this practice, and I will ask you to, yeah, take a comfortable position and to take a little bit of deep breaths, and I will be saying these words, so you can like relate to them, and it's also a very personal experience, because I will be saying like I am sorry, and I will be saying I'm sorry for some things that I feel that I need to say I'm sorry. But if you feel that you have something to say I'm sorry for, please do it, and that way we can yeah, erase that cloud of memory and let the light that is inside of us shine. So yeah, and also on Oponopono is very important to become responsible for our actions and our feelings. So I like how it complements with NBC, and with this continuous learning that we are having. So I will start saying that I am sorry, and I am sorry for the harm I've made to others, and I am sorry for the judgment I have made to others, and I am sorry for the pain that others feel, and that there's not much that I can do. So I have also to be conscious of that, my actions and all of our actions um, always impact others. So and we are not perfect, and sometimes even without wanting to, we sometimes harm others. So yeah, I'm sorry, and I say this so that I have nothing else to be sorry for, and I forgive myself for the harm I have caused to myself, and for blaming others for my feelings. I take full responsibility of my feelings, and I forgive myself for being hard with me or for being hard with others. I want to open my heart and feel love, and feel an immense love. And I want to say I love you. I love you, the person that is hearing me in this screen. I respect you, and I honor you, and I love you, taking your time to hear what I have come here to say, for joining all these Graviton trainings. I love you, because sometimes we are scarce with our love, with our capacity to love, but really, love is a unlimited resource that we have within ourselves. So um, we are sometimes scarce with love, and we only love our family, and we only love our partner, but um, we can open our hearts to love each and every one of us, and love ourselves as brothers, as one big family. So yeah, I love you all, and yeah, my feelings for all of you are of respect and admiration. And thank you, for making me feel valued, and thank you for listening to me, and also for making the light inside of me shine brighter, because I wasn't able to to communicate all that I have inside of me until this moment. And I thank you, because all of you have like developed my best self for this moment. So yeah, that's the practice I wanted to share with you. And with this, we want to fill ourselves with love, to let go of things from the past, and to thank the world and the life that we have, because even though that we're passing through tough times, all of the people that is here has have a lot of things to give thanks for, and also for the position that we have, where we can make impact on building and changing the things, how we feel they can be better. So yeah. Thank you all. And now, after this intro, we will get into the center of this session, that is how to manage disputes. Like, until this moment in the Graviton training, we have talked a lot about how to prevent disputes, how to create trust, how to develop empathy with the other, how to communicate. But eventually, and it's normal that disputes arise, and it can be either between two people, or either you being a third side in a conflict. There are certain tips and skills that you can reproduce to react the best when a conflict arises. So that's why we promote in Gravity alternative dispute resolution, that is any method of or mechanism of resolving disputes other than litigation. And there are many alternative dispute resolution techniques, but they all basically stand and from a non-adversarial search for beneficial outcome, looking for compromise and dialogue between parties. So I think you are already familiar with this image, and I will go fast with it. But this is basically the conflict management cycle for DAOs that Gravity proposes, and is that there can always be an external management layer where you can have arbitration, and where you can invest as a third with authority to take a decision. But when we use that method of solving disputes, there will be always a clear winner and a clear loser, and the outcome of the dispute will not come from the parties, but from a third side. And we want to promote self-composition within the community, and to create an internal management layer where the outcomes of a dispute emerge from dialogue between parties, compromising for win-win solutions. and this way we can avoid falling into the prisoner's dilemma, and rather like creating new paths and looking for beneficial outcomes with the communication and with the dialogue of the parties. And here we explain a little bit of two self-compositive ADR mechanisms that we can have here in Gravity, and that we can that we mostly promote. And the first one is the mediation. Is a mechanism where the third party does not have decision-making capacity. He or she is only a facilitator, and this is what we mostly do in Gravity. We do mediation between people, other than like focusing in this conflict management scenario. Yeah, and we also have conciliation, and is when the two parts invest the third party with the ability to propose decisions. And yeah, they mostly differ in the capacity that the mediator has in the dispute. But yeah, we mostly use a mediation where the conflict manager is just a facilitator. Okay. And arbitration, you know it is when you invest someone with authority to take a decision. And why is heterocompositive? Because yeah, in contrast to conciliation and mediation, the composition is not built from the agreement of the parts involved, but from the decision of a delegated third part. So, and I hope you also check out this video that is Getting to Yes in Challenging Times. William Ury is an expert on mediation and on negotiation, and he leads the Harvard program on negotiation. And this is a really cool video that he recorded last year, mostly around these same dates, and it's really good. So he proposes a way of managing disputes drawn as an engineering point of view. And I like this narrative of engineering, because here we're in the token engineering commons. So if we are engineering tokens, we can also engineer negotiation. And basically, he says that there are three main important bases of building a bridge between two people. And building a bridge between two people, we mean managing a conflict between them. And one is the balcony, the other one is the bridge, and the other one is the third side. So yeah, the balcony is to not let yourself be out of your optimal arousal zone. Why? Because sometimes we are building a bridge, but then we are almost reaching an agreement, but then like emotions arise, and someone maybe touch a sensitive fiber of the other, and because of emotions, a rational decision can be taken down. So like maybe you were building a bridge with someone, but then she calls you or he calls you by the name you don't like to be told, and you say, hey, I wanted to reach an agreement with you, but now that you said what I didn't like to hear, I don't want to have anything with you. And this happens a lot. This happens a lot. And when we are facilitating a mediation, it's important to create this safe environment where things don't go chaotic, because they can go chaotic really easily, and it has happened to me, and it's not nice. And it's mostly also lack of the mediator, when you don't um, prepare the safe space as good as you could have done it, so that when building the bridge, like emotions don't turn it down. And yeah, staying in the balcony is staying with the eyes in what you want, and not letting you and like seeing from a high point, so like you don't get into the weeds of what happened, but like you are rather seeing things from a high perspective on your goal, and like thinking on what obstacles can you pass through to get your goal. The bridge is the building a mutual agreement between the parties, and the third side is also a person who is vested with confidence from both parties to sustain the structure. So yeah, I like this analogy, and I think it's a good way of facing a dispute when it arises, and also on what are the important things that you have to keep in mind when in these situations. So it's not just like building a bridge between the two people, but also creating a safe space, and always trying to keep like emotions controlled, so that things don't go chaotic. Because when what we are doing in conflict management is that we are trying to not take emotional reactions, but rather um, to build rational agreements. And the importance of creating this balcony is to not let like emotions turn down your agreement. So I think we are clear on that, and I will pass to the next slide. So, and this is explained on the bridge. This is the bridge, and it's like there are two people, and um, they both have one most desired outcome and one least acceptable agreement. So our idea when making a negotiation between two people is to try to create a zone of possible agreement, and within that zone of possible agreement, to create a BATNA, a best alternative to a negotiated agreement. So yeah, like they both stand from opposite positions. They both have a most desired outcome that can be polarized from the other, but you can try to create a zone of possible agreement by not by taking one or the other into their least acceptable agreement, but trying to meet them in the middle, meet them halfway. And yeah, this is on negotiation. And who is the third side? The third side is can be outsiders and can be insiders. But the importance of the third side is for it to be responsible and committed to the cause, because we as a third side can act either as a facilitator to the solving and the management of the dispute, or rather as a catalyst of an explosion. Because the third side, we will have access to private information and to important information from one side or the other. And if a third side is bad intentioned, can help ignite the fire. So one thing when you're looking for a third side, if you is that you want someone that is someone who you can feel comfortable and confident with, that will do things right for you and for the other person. And that's why in Gravity we have a lot of requirements to not only to become a Graviton, as this training is, but also to stay as a Graviton and to mediate in a dispute, because we don't want to be like the people that they like people come to us with a dispute and then we just give them something bigger. That's not the idea. So what is being a good third part? Is to be able to procure a safe space for each part to trust in the process, and to collect valuable information. Being a good third part is to take into account the feelings of each part. Ignoring the feelings can prevent a dispute from being resolved. To feel comfortable with strong emotions and to become sensitized to the feelings and needs of others as well as ourselves. We need to be able to map and clarify the situation. Sometimes the conflicts are not what they are shown. Sometimes we see like the symptom of a conflict, but we need to map and really understand the conflict to get to the root of it. And a good third part needs to help the parties understand their own interest and risk and explore all possibilities to conform a satisfactory agreement, and help to make informed decisions, pondering expected costs, ex ante and ex post, and expected benefits to a negotiated agreement. So what like we are not imposing decisions or to anyone, but we are rather telling them that we can help them to make informed decisions. And yeah, that they will have better outcomes from the dispute with a negotiated agreement than if they solve it by their own hands, or if they solve it with a third one that they just give authority to take a decision. But we also foster self-compositive. So sometimes someone requests like support from Gravity, and what we tell them is, hey, communicate directly with the other part, because sometimes we are even shy to say things, or we don't know how to say them, or we think that the other person will receive what we have to say in a bad manner. But yeah, we also foster that everyone has the capacity to and the agency to express what they feel, and to express it in a good way. So now we are going to get into a deep dive of what we have building on Gravity until this point, and I will be opening a lot of links, but most of them are in the study plan here, and others are of easy access. So yeah, I will be sharing them too. So yeah, first we have a code of conduct inside of Gravity, and it's the actions that are possible within Gravity, and is that everyone can fill the type form or approach any of the gravitons to request support. Gravitons can approach the parties involved to collect information on the issues. Gravitons can take actions to regulate unwanted behavior according to the graduated sanctions. We're going to go on this in some minutes. All community members can propose new methodologies to approach graduated sanctions and mutual monitoring, as well as upgrade the current ones, because we are always evolving. And as we saw in Lois' session, there are a lot of conflict management methodologies. So it's not that we are going to marry with mediation and conciliation. If someone says that we can integrate, I don't know, integrating polarities or other, as we are also integrating nonviolent communication, our idea is to have like a portfolio of practices that can fit the different circumstances of conflicts, because not like all conflicts are different, and they can be approached or solved better with one methodology than the other. So this is also a very creative science, where you can say, hey, I think that maybe this conflict don't actually need a mediation. Maybe we can have this other practice, or maybe we can make an yeah. But the idea is that we can have this structured, and yeah, that we can continue iterating in our conflict management mechanism. Gravitons can submit conflict or issues to the Gravity Registry. I am going to talk to you about the Gravity Registry in some minutes. That is a database of the cases managed by Gravity. Conflict resolutions calls and chats are closed to Gravitons, and parties involved to respect privacy and vulnerability. The Gravity Working Group can host training and capacitate individuals to become Gravitons. The Graviton training is free and open for all. The Gravity can remove proposals from all the voting categories if they receive flaggings or are seen as harmful to the communities based on rules, boundaries, terms, and conditions. Yeah, and we also have rules and boundaries. Like all members should act in acknowledgement with the guideline for scale of conflicts and graduated sanctions. I will be opening this because we will be seeing this in some minutes. Graviton should comply to the code of conduct of the TEC and their additional Graviton code of conduct. Yeah, we have a Graviton code of conduct. And yeah, here I say that Gravitons should comply to the code of conduct of the TEC because we are in the TEC. But if you are developing a gravity in your organization, you can just say that people comply to the code of conduct of your organization. Gravitons accept cases based on their competence and communicate the Gravity Working Group. They don't feel capable of handling an issue. Graviton should promote trust and good relationship within the community. Is it required to complete the Graviton training to become a Gravitons? Graviton will update the Gravity Registry. Yeah, and is discouraged to use confidential Gravity information to serve personal interest. If somehow we can prove this, we can expel someone from the Gravity Working Group. Or violating the requirements of the Graviton role. Any member can monitor Graviton actions and report to other Gravitons, fill the type form, or contact community stewards. And that's why also Gravitons participate in community management, because as we have been seeing along all this training, like conflict management is the last stage of not having a dispute. Like there's a big step before that is prevention, and Gravitons, if we only hope to be useful when people have a dispute, then we are fostering disputes. But that's why the Graviton tasks is not only to be useful when a dispute arises, but also to be able to prevent a dispute. And that's why Gravitons should be also very involved in the cultural build of their organizations. And as individuals, promote dialogue within the organization and manage conflict. As a collective, take decision on the implementation of graduated sanctions. And as both as collective and individuals, to commit to the practice of preventing, contextualizing, and resolving disputes by attendance in our community practice. Like, yeah, we cannot measure our success in how many disputes we solve, because that way we will also need to like make a lot of disputes, but we can also measure our success like in how people is feeling, and if people feel valued, if people trust the community, then we can also say that we are having success, um, because people feel that if something happens, they will have a way to solve things, but it's not that a lot of things are happening so that we have to be running all the time. I feel that it would be a great success that like we don't have a lot of disputes, but when we have them, we have clear ways to address them. So yeah. And yeah, we also have a goal, and is that what I was saying before, that people in the community recognize the agreements and culturally acts coherently to the values of the organization. But if there is conflict, there are clear steps to follow in order to manage the situations in the effective search and implementation of solutions that respect the dignity of all parts involved. And these are some of the things that Gravity supports the TEC with, but also it can support your organization, like actively promoting trust, recognize boundaries and areas of potential dispute, support communication between community members, promote community resilience and long-lasting human relations, and help to take decisions and in the implementation of graduated sanctions. I think, yeah, this topic that I raised, it was because this particularly this slide is a little bit old, and we changed this. So now it's not a need to hold admin powers to manage system of communications, because yeah, there are other working groups that do that, and we can work in coordination with them. So yeah, I think those are really the things that the Gravity Working Group supports the TEC with. And this is the guideline of for scale of conflicts and graduated sanctions. There is this forum post where we did a work to try to say, okay, what characterizes a small scale conflict? Okay, what can be the boundary of a mid scale conflict? And what can be the boundary of a big scale conflict? And then what can be the suggested actions that we can propose to each scale of conflict? And if you see, these suggested actions are really transformational actions, and that's why I don't really like to always call them like graduated sanctions, because my idea, and I think a good idea with this, is not to be punishing people, but to have ways of correcting behavior without being actually a sanction. So here you can see, like in all of them, there one way to solve a conflict is having a reconciliation ritual. And I love this. Every time I have a mediation, I ask to all of the parties to say to the other, I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, and thank you. And that unblocks a lot of doors. Like sometimes when you hear the other part saying I'm sorry, then you throw your sword and your shield down, and you say, okay, I can have a dialogue. And yeah, some of these actions are like having an informal call between parts, and they can be settled within simple actions. There are actually no sanctions. The agreement is strictly between parts involved. But as the scale of a conflict goes bigger, we can have like another ways of acting. And yeah, if needed, we can have an arbitration, and the issue can be referred to a court for application of legal actions. But we also, if the issue that happens was like a direct attack to the community, we can graduate ban people from the Discord, like 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. Maybe if the conflict is too big, we can have like a public debate on the issue. So yeah, the idea is not to have like one thing to do when a conflict arises, but to have like a whole portfolio of things that we can do and to solve. So here we can also have like tribe love circles. We can have a collaborative solution. Maybe if it's a small scale conflict, you don't have to have like a written registry of the thing, but if the thing is big enough, or if it needs it, or if the Graviton feels that it suits for the occasion, we can have like a formal written agreement or management process registered. Okay. And these are some of the ethical standards and requirements for Gravitons. There is also this other forum post that says, that Gravity members must commit to these exigencies that are required to join and stay. And is that becoming a Graviton is a voluntary process. No one can coerce anyone to become a Graviton, and we cannot force participation from the parties into Gravity. Like if parties participate in Gravity, is because of their will. We are not like, hey, come to Gravity or else. No, like Gravity is just an option, and if you want to take it, we will be here. Gravitons should be able to have self-determination, and we are trying to be self-determinated from like also from the leadership structures that we have. Like it's not that if we that we cannot be biased when facing into a conflictive situation or trying to facilitate. If maybe we are not able to self-determine ourselves because we feel something, or we have a love relationship, or with someone who is involved in the conflict. That's not really good, and that's why we also ask the Gravitons if they feel capable of solving a case. And the act for a Graviton to receive a case, it's also a voluntary act that the Graviton must say that they feel incompetence to be self-determined in the case. And this is also related to the second point, that the Graviton must recognize when they're not capable of facilitating a conversation. Gravitons must also be competent on the issue, and that's why we are also trying to have a minimum of 2 Gravitons handling a case, because like we don't know everything, so we need to have maybe an expert. If the case is related to coordination, maybe to have a subject matter expert which has a lot of experience in coordination, so that he or she can help us explore more creative ideas when looking for solutions. Gravitons must keep up with confidentiality. They must be impartial and neutral. And when we mediate or act as a Graviton, we act with professional responsibility. Like being a mediator is a profession, and here we
Did we lose Juan? I can't hear him anymore.
Yeah, I can't hear him either. I was wondering about that as well. Because I thought it was me.
And this is also something that is very important, that it hasn't.
Juan, you just came back. I think we missed a little bit of that.
Yeah, there was about a 30-second period where we couldn't hear you. And now he's gone.
And that's why
sorry, Juan.
Yeah.
You've been really absent for like a minute now. You were completely gone for a period, and we didn't hear anything you said for like an entire minute.
Sorry. Okay, I will share my screen again. Yeah, I was talking about the additional exigences that are required to join and stay in the collective, and it's all of these you can read them, and it's important to have like rotation from Gravitons. We are always having new trainings, and this can be worked, but the initial idea is that one can only be a Graviton 3 years in a row to avoid accumulation of power. So yeah, this would be like my first year. That would mean like in 2 years maybe I won't be the lead of the gravity working group, but that also fosters a lot of this rotation and different leaderships that we want in the space. But as we are reaching to the top of the hour, I will jump to the second part, and it's the gravity deep dive. And yeah, this is another meme. This is the apology class. Sorry, no refunds. So yeah, I will be opening these links. We have a Git book in the Token Engineering Commons, and yeah, this is a really big source of truth in our community, and I am sure all of your communities have this source of truth. But it's important to have these mechanisms understood and comprehended and acknowledged within these sources of truth. And as you can see, like here we can we have the a description of what gravity do, what are our goals, and yeah, that way you can keep track of our progress. And yeah, we are focused on Elinor Ostrom's principle number 4, 5, and 6, and is that rules are enforced by effective and accountable monitoring. Sanctions for violations should be graduated, and conflict resolution should be easily accessible. And here we have like, this is our manifesto. You can the success of our project is that people recognize the cultural build and act coherently, but when disputes arise, there are clear steps to follow. And the failure is that there's no recognition of these processes to address conflict in the organization, and that disputes arise without being channeled to experts, and there is no control or accountables over situations. So right now we started with the first roadmap that was checked. We had our second roadmap. We checked with some bullet points pending, and right now we are in the third roadmap. And as you can see, some of these things are happening. Like, have the second Graviton training, aiming to have 20 plus Gravitons from at least 3 or 4 communities. I think here we have like 4 or 5 communities, and I am thinking that we will have 20 more Gravitons. I think like around 30, and that's super awesome, super cool. Thank you, everyone. And initialize DAO discussions, how to implement Ostrom principles and the Commons framework to Gravity. Also looking for extra funding options. So once you finish the Graviton training, you are going to come, if you want to, and collaborate on reaching these goals with us. And like, yeah, structuring our DAO, managing our funds, and we will be actually submitting a proposal to the Token Engineering Commons to fund some bounties. So the idea is that when you engage in Gravity, you can also be rewarded, and not only managing cases, also facilitating the Graviton trainings, and we are also looking for other ways to reward people that actually build trust and help to solve conflict and prevent it in organizations. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do, and we are also designing continuous education spaces like the NBC Book Club that I always recommend you to assist. That is really cool. So yeah, this is the way that we are working, and we will check this third roadmap in December. So yeah, in December we will be actually we want to design a 1 year long roadmap. So yeah, that way, or at least 6 months. So that that way we have like clarity on where we are going and where we want to go. This is our forum post that is really good, and it's the Gravity easy step by step. And yeah, we first have identification of cases, and is that one of the parties to a dispute approach Gravity and request a mediation. And Gravitons can also propose issues to manage and discuss. We have the screening phase, that is when you approach to the parties and do like a mapping of the dispute. Then you look for solutions with the parties, and then we have like a post mediation, that is the outcome of that. And yeah, these are very cool infographics that Acid Laser help us to do. But and this is also a flow of a mediation process. Like first, Gravitons review documents from the parties and plan a mediation process. If the parties don't agree to mediate, you cannot continue with the mediation, because there's no way to pursue an agreement if there's no willingness to get involved in the process. But if people say yes, then okay, you start reaching information, and you start talking with the parties to engage in a dialogue. And then you make the space for the actual mediation. And if people don't reach to an agreement, the parties have the option to pursue the dispute through other dispute resolution mechanisms. Or if they actually reached an agreement, then you assist the parties in drafting the agreement, and you also help on the transformational actions that can be registered. So and we are going to talk about the Gravity Registry. So and yeah, this is assuming the post-mediation outcomes. But I will take these 5 minutes to talk about the Gravity Registry. So what is the Gravity Registry? It's basically a coordination repo in ZenHub where we raise tickets, and we tag the Gravitons to have like a registry of how are the cases going. This is not loading really well for me. So here we can see, and this is also an input that comes from the transparency and from the soft governance of the TC, that we had this registry in a private spreadsheet, and it was like, hey, I know that we don't want to give any sensitive information, but we don't want it to be like something very occult to the community. So this is like a response to that, and I think this way the management of the cases is very transparent, and we can also have a registry of the situations that we have handled. So here I will be opening an example. We have like a description of the conflict and maybe some additional actions or the transformational actions that were suggested. But if you notice, there are no names here. So this is the way that we protect people from being exposed when having a conflict, but we also permit the organization to have access and transparency to what were the things that happened and what were the actions that were done in that moment. So yeah, as an example, this was on 9th of on 11th of September, and the Graviton in charge was me, and the transformational action was to promote communication to solve the misunderstanding. So if someone wants to have more information about this case, or yeah, they can actually they know who was the Graviton in charge, and if there are any evidence on the issue, there are also links to the mediation documents. So yeah, and here you can actually see what are the forms that we use. We have this form, and this is the observation form. Yeah, this is the observation form, and this is when you approach to the parties to gather information from them to try to map a dispute. You first gather to one of the parties, and you make this contextualization, and then you come to the other party and make the same questions, and then you map what are the points of mutual interest and what are the points of mutual disagreement. So that way you can have like the first mapping of the dispute, and then when you have that mapping of the dispute and people agree with it, you can actually have a mediation session. And yeah, we have some agreements that are prior to the mediation, but basically during the mediation process, we also follow the NBC process, the observation, filling needs and requests, and the idea is that we have the observation previous to the mediation session, so that we can have clear feelings and clear needs during this session, so that we can focus mostly in making requests. And if there's an agreement, we describe it, and then we make a private copy of this, and we link it to the ticket of the Gravity coordination space. So yeah, basically that's the Gravity process. That's what I wanted to share with you. We are mostly in the top of the hour to people who want to jump right now, but I can stay for like 20 to 30 minutes to answer questions or continue the dialogue. I will also finish sharing that this is the first generation of Gravitons, and all of these people are easy access points in our community. I love all of these people, and after this session, I will be updating, and after the end of the training, I will be updating this sheet so that it also includes the second generation Gravitons, and that we can know who are the easy access points in the community.